Hey guys, welcome back. We got Ruggles here,
Hey guys, happy to be on the channel.
and we have another GOAT match.
Yeah, we're trying to do these relatively consistently, and I've been having some fun with a Warrior Toolbox deck. I didn't play it back in the day, which I think is why it's so much fun now, and I believe you're on General GOAT Control?
Just general GOAT control, because I can't build anything else right now.
Yeah, so we'll have some fun, and if there's a specific deck you'd like to see in the future, let us know. We're happy to play around.
We'll probably build it. We do have some cards.
We have Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
We do. We own some.
A couple. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Let's do
jump
this.
into it.
Alrighty.
So, jumping into game one here, I unfortunately do not get to go first. It matters in GOAT, you get to draw the extra card, but you can't do all that much because, of course, it's GOAT, and T-set is normal, though you don't even have the back row.
No, I have a heavy storm in my hand, so I choose not to set any back row. My hand isn't fantastic anyway, so I'm hoping that, by not setting the back row, maybe I can just get a heavy storm for a +1 at some point, and then set my back row and try.
Not a bad play. I decide, you know what, he doesn't have the back row, so we might as well use the Rota, search a Blade Knight, we won't have any other monsters, we can run over the face down, and therefore it just won't get the flip effect. So that's exactly what we do. We hit a Koichi, not bad at all, and I think that's a pretty good start. So we also set an MST so we can get a little aggressive on the following turn.
Definitely can. I don't have any monsters, so I set a back row and pass and get met with that MST, unfortunately.
Yeah, something I found with this deck over the last couple of games is that you need to play really aggressively. It doesn't generate a lot of advantage, and therefore you need to take games quickly, especially against decks that do. So we're using the MSTs quite quickly. We're summoning the big monsters, now trying to lock out what could be a potential future Chaos monsters if he has Graceful and a follow-up, and I think we're in a really good spot.
Oh, definitely. I drew another brick, basically, so I set a back row and pass.
Yeah, at this point, I'm kind of afraid of a Torrential, so I decide not to extend into additional monsters. We swing in with the Kaiku, we are able to get the damage with the Blade Knight, and the hand is still looking pretty good. We have the Exile to get rid of really whatever we want, we have the Premature to get a monster back. Things are looking quite good on my side.
For sure. I draw Breaker for turn, and I have a decision to make. Do I Storm and then Breaker, or just Breaker, force out the back row anyway? I think I should have played the Storm in retrospect, because then my Breaker just would have been safe. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it there.
And the Blade Knight is only at 1600, so Breaker with token could run over it, but I also understand wanting to keep the Storm considering I'm playing just a wide myriad of trap cards.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do get punished. You do have the Book of Moon, and I actually have a knock, which isn't great against your deck, but it came handy for that Book of Moon play.
Yeah, it's not great monster removal, but he's not really going to use the knock for anything else otherwise. So I think that was definitely the correct play, especially considering what the life points are at. Now, I have a very fun play. I can normal summon the Exiled, pop the face down, even if it's Sangan, it's fine, because he's not going to get a chance to use it. We have a couple good cards in our hand, and we realize, you know what, we can just activate the Premature Burial, bring back the Exiled. We have one card in hand, which means we can swing in for 3k and take the game.
Good job.
Yeah, lucky math, right?
Yeah. Alrighty, so I'm going to start first, and I'm going to start with Pot of Greed, allowing me to draw 2 cards from my deck.
Pretty good opener.
Doesn't happen often enough, so I'm really happy to see it.
No, but when it does, it really happens, as you guys will see throughout this match. Looking at my hand, things are not all that playable. A lot of purple cards.
A lot of purple cards. It seems like you got 1 monster in the form of Rhoda, or 2 monsters now with Breaker.
Yeah.
And 4 back row.
So, I see that face down. I don't want you to gain advantage. I know that while the Breaker could pick off back row, getting rid of that monster really was the priority. And Blade Knight, I think, is a good option as it's bigger than something like a Mystic Tomato if you have that in hand, or a Sangan, unlike a Mystic Swordsman level 2, and it should be able to get over that face down unless you have Book of Moon.
Unless we have Book of Moon. Great start. And I believe I have Knock in my hand, or I can draw a Knock at some point. Yeah. We'll see what happens with this. So I'm going to flip up what I believe to be is a Magical Merchant.
Yeah, and the card you get off the top is a pretty good one, as again, you guys will see. Here we go. Graceful Charity has the Pot of Greed. Graceful Charity, 2 turns. Doesn't get much better than that.
It really doesn't. Like, we're at a point where my hand is so good, I have no idea what to discard. I'm legitimately going to spend the next, what feels like an eternity of my life, thinking about what 2 cards to discard. I got Snatch Steal, Book of Moon, Metamorphosis, Nobleman, a Cross Out, got a Trap in there, got a Monster.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff.
it's interesting because a lot of our games, a lot of our matches, we've been playing with Thunder Dragons and Night Assailant, cards that are excellent to discard because they generate you advantage or trade in one way or another. Same with things like Sinister Serpent, which you just didn't draw. But here, you actually have to discard good cards you don't intend to go to the graveyard. So definitely good to put that thought in and just ensure you're making the right call, especially when your opponent has 4 back row, which, by the way, I only set because I had double Solemn, and in that scenario I don't have to worry about Heavy Storm.
Very, very, very wise. I would never just set 4 back row without protection. In the end, I discard Metamorphosis and Book of Moon. I remember just sitting and thinking about every single possibility. Like, I know your deck, I know what you're trying to do, so it was very hard to discard. But you kill my tomato with a Widespread Ruin, and I do save the knock for the Blade Knight, anticipating that you would have something to block my attack.
Yeah, booking the Blade Knight, then coming down with a knock is just so important because there really isn't any other scenario where we're going to get to use that knock. So it's great that you took advantage of this, and you also took advantage of this situation.
Yes, the pro play MST. You don't activate the MST, you wait until someone tries to pop it, and then you get the +1. Which is exactly what we did.
+1s win games in GOAT.
They do.
So here we do get to go for a little bit of damage. That's nice. You can see that I'm working through the Sakuretsu Armors, the Widespread Ruins, a lot of those Battle Trap 1-for-1s, which again are good if you can be aggressive with the deck, but in this scenario it's not fantastic because we're not aggressive enough. He's getting a lot of advantage. We can't gain that level of advantage, so the 1-for-1s really aren't going to do what we need them to do.
And speaking of 1-for-1s, flipped over my Magician of Faith, getting me back Pot of Greed. And as you can see in my hand, I have another Magician of Faith as well.
Yeah, the Pot of Greeds are very bountiful in this match here. Interesting that you went for Pot of Greed over Graceful, the card that lets you dig to a greater extent, but again, you're not really playing a deck that offers a myriad of great discards.
No, and I thought about that too. Like, do I go for the extra card but discard 2 cards? I had such an issue with discarding resources last time, I didn't want to do that. So that Pot of Greed is more than okay. It's just a straight +1, I can keep all my resources, and lots of Pot of Greeds will allow me to out-tempo you anyway, was the thought. And we're going to do it again.
Yeah, see, I can't put any additional damage on board. I can't get a monster on board, which will negate flip effects. And so I'm playing a very slow game. Well, he is too, but he's benefiting greatly from it. It's an unfortunate situation, but I think it really highlights the different playstyles of the decks, which is quite interesting.
Definitely. Now we've resolved Pot of Greed for the 3rd time, and I believe I prematurely flipped Scapegoat, so we can do Metamorphosis. There we go.
It's a good play.
Definitely. We need to get your monster off the board.
Yeah, I don't have much. I believe I have a monster left in hand, which is why I'm letting this go through, but the number of monsters I have in deck, and therefore in hand generally, is quite low, and losing them is generally difficult. So it is the thing you kind of consider negating with something like a Solemn there.
Oh, definitely. But you did have the Widespread Ruin, and now you have the Pot of Greed.
Finally.
Now we're all drawing cards.
Yeah, I don't play the endless loop of them that you do, but we do get that extra +1. We do get that Mystic Swordsman level 2, drew into a very good monster I've wanted for quite some time for obvious reasons.
For sure. I'm actually forced to Mirror Force, because I really want to resolve the flip effect, and you stop it. You don't like it.
I have to. Again, I have so little monsters. I need to start playing more aggressively. And I think during this match and a couple matches after, I realized more so how to play this deck correctly, and the Solemns aren't necessarily there to stop the opponent from rendering larger plays, but it's more so to let you go through with yours. At least that's my interpretation of it and its play style, but I think it's quite interesting.
And that's what you were doing. Unfortunately, I did have Tomato to, beat your Swordsman, but you did stop Magical Merchant, which could have been ignorant, like the last time it got me Graceful Charity,
Yeah, I was going to say, what if it got you Delinquent Duo, which I just drew. Great card. Interesting that we were able to resolve it to the full extent late game. I think that really speaks to the fact that you have been generating just a massive amount of advantage, but it isn't really a card that lets us play, and we have to be very mindful of our next summon. We have access to pretty much every monster in our deck. We drew the Spellcaster. Now we can grab something like a Blade Knight, the Warrior Lady, so many options. But, we also have the Exiled Force. It was a tough call, realistically. I liked that the DD Warrior Lady could run over the Tomato. I liked that it could give me a monster on board. You couldn't also just run the Tomato into it like you could a Blade Knight, but here we have the Ring, and that's rough.
That is pretty rough, because you're very low on life points, so you just Solemn it anyway.
Yeah, had to. Really, really had to. So here we look at the calculator, figure out how we get that extra 0.5 in there. Got it.
We got it.
Yeah, a lot of you guys have asked us why we're not using the Neuron app, and the truth is we keep forgetting to download it. So today we arrived at the shop together, and I started downloading it, and then I realized that it would take forever on data. So yet again, working with the calculator. But there we go. Mario takes it. Snatch steal. Great job.
Awesome. On to game 3. And now it is game 3.
Yeah, so I love it. I love it when we get to the game 3s. I love it when it's a bit back and forth. And this one's pretty interesting. Here, we're starting off with a pretty decent hand, and you have arguably quite a few bricks.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Some Metamorphosis there. T-set pass, the classic start.
Yeah, still able to fulfill the classic start. We are going to begin with a power card in Delinquent Duo. Pretty incredible. We get to rip 2 cards from his hand, which means that his follow-ups won't be as impactful. We get rid of 2 cards, which don't really matter, though. So I'm not wildly happy with what we hit, but it's okay. It's still, a 1 for 2. Though we do have another really good power card in our hand. We opened extremely well.
You did. You had the Duo and the Pot of Greed.
Yeah, so now we have quite a large hand, and with that comes a lot of option. You have the face down monster, and I say, you know what? We need to get rid of that. We have the option of the Blade Knight, we have the option of the Mystic Swordsman level 2, and we have a very big hand. I'm not going to be able to get my hand to the lower size, so I say, you know what? Let's get the Mystic this time. We have other big monsters in our hand for follow-ups. This is good. This means we can build our board throughout our turns and still get rid of the face downs. And so we start with the 2, and we don't really hit much.
No, just a Serpent. You expected a flip effect. Had to disappoint you.
Yeah.
My hand was just that unfortunate. But Scapegoat's good at the end phase. Because I drew 2 Metamorphosis, I can make a Metamorphosis play. But not before activating Heavy Storm.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate here. I want to keep my other back row, so I do decide that is worth half my life points. Yeah, I'm still not really sure if that was the correct play, but yeah, you'll see why. It's very questionable.
It happens. It's fine. I'm forced to Metamorphosis for your 900 because I got nothing else, and you have the Sakuretsu.
Yeah, so saving the Sakuretsu meant that we could get rid of the Floodgate, which is important with a handful of monsters. We have the second Mystic Swordsman level 2, absolutely incredible. We have a big hand. You hypothetically have a Serpent and a single draw. I think things are looking
good.
Incredibly bad. Oh man, we had this.
And that's the match. That's it. Lucky top deck for the win.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible ending. So we are back, and I think those were some pretty fun games. crazy ending with the Blackluster Soldier.
That's true. I have also never resolved pot of greed so many times in my life.
No. Yeah, I think that's good reasoning why certain cards got banned over time. And if anything, I feel good about the fact that I held out long enough while you resolved that many pot of greeds. Like, realistically, that's so many cards.
That's a lot of cards.
So much advantage. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if you guys want to see more GOAT matches like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with your friends.
Yeah.
All your friends will like GOAT.
GOAT's great. It's very different than modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, if you're watching to this point, you're very aware of that. But I feel like it's almost like an entirely different game, and I love that there's such a dedicated community to it. So, yeah, if you enjoy GOAT, if your friends enjoy GOAT, give it a watch, give it a share, and we'll be back with more GOAT.
Yes, we will.
Next week?
Hopefully.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks for stopping by.